Greetings, friends. Thanks for watching. If you are tuning in, then this is part of the 31 Days of Samhain series. Hi, my name is Melina. I'm the co-owner at Pathways Books in St. Louis, Missouri. We are a metaphysical New Age event and resource center. Again, it's a brick and mortar building located in St. Louis. And if you are watching, we are now in the portion of the 31 Days of Samhain that I like to call kitchen witchery. So we've been talking about a few aspects of the kitchen and how magic can incorporate into our everyday life, like with our food. And today we are talking about one of my favorite things, bread. You might think, why are we talking about bread? What does that have to do with Samhain or kitchen witchery or anything? But if you think about it, bread is seen as sustenance, and it's a combination of both the Lord and the Lady, or Mother Earth and Father Sky with the grain. So the grain is the Father or the Lord, and the earth is the mother or the lady that the grain grows from. So it's very much that it's that symbiosis of the two coming together to create bread. Bread is often seen as a symbol of prosperity and of health. There are a lot of stories that go back to Neolithic times when actually agriculture first began, and the grain or anybody that could produce bread was seen as very wealthy because they had enough materials and things to make that and supply all the people that were in like their community or their group. It's also a sign of fertility and also seen as a sign of abundance, which is why sometimes in earth religion traditions, and sometimes you can find it in other cultures throughout the world, people will give both bread and salt to newlyweds or to people that are new homeowners. So the idea being that when you give that to them, then they keep having the abundance of health and brings good energy to their home. Now, one of the reasons that people have connected with bread so much over the years is the cycle of bread is similar to the cycle of the plants. You have the seed, and you have the growth, and then you have life, and then you have death, and then you have rebirth. So a lot of times after the plant cycle has like gone and dropped its seed, it will then come back again, much like the life cycle of human beings, especially if you believe in reincarnation. Even if you don't, it's very similar to that whole cycle of what plants have. Bread's also been, for that reason, associated with procreation and fertility. So if you had a lot of bread, you were seen as a wealthy household and were able to, again, provide for everyone. There's a lot of stories that are based around bread. Back in there's actually stories like around the islanders that are near Sicily, that when there were stormy seas, people would take bread that had been consecrated and throw it into the ocean or into the seas in order for their loved ones to come back safe from fishing trips. There was also a time when the Romans, when they were being attacked, would throw bread at their invaders, and they thought that they had so much. They figured if they're throwing bread, they must have stockpiles for days, so they just kind of backed up and gave up and went away. A similar thing occurred in France as well. But there's a lot of stories about bread, and it's a very communal thing. If you think of like cakes and ale that you have after a ritual to help like ground you back into your body, bread is often seen as an offering. If you think of even in Christianity, you have the Eucharists that the bread comes off of for communion. So bread can be very, very sacred in a lot of different ways. So when you bake bread this Samhain season, consider making a little extra so that you can put it outside for any of the animals and give that back as an offering to the earth in thanks for all that we've received. Because honestly, if you think about everything we have, we're a whole lot more prosperous than a lot of folks out there. So consider using bread in your rituals, and when you make it, you can knead it by hand. You could do it, of course, in a bread maker, but the idea is to be very present and to be very honorable in what you're making. So some things you may want to consider before you start to make your bread, especially if it's for something that's of a ritual endeavor. You may want to smudge yourself, take a few minutes to kind of center yourself. You want to get your energy field in the right kind of frame of mind, because any energy that you have in there as you're making your bread, that's going to go into your bread as well. So you want to think Like, think positive things, think a lot of thoughts of gratitude, think of being of service when you make it. And there's so many things that you can incorporate into it when you're making your bread. So if you're stirring, like if you're stirring your dry ingredients together, when you stir clockwise, that's bringing things in. If you stir counterclockwise, that's with the intention of getting things out of your home. Most people, especially if you're going to eat it, you're going to go clockwise. So consider thinking of all the folks in your home, and as you stir, visualize them being happy and healthy and prosperous. So that's one thing that you can do. You can, of course, always bless your ingredients before they go into making your bread. And then when it gets to the point where your bread has to rise, you can always send energy to that bread. And one of the things I like to do is, if you're going to knead your bread by hand, you may want to think of a prayer or a mantra. So as you do it, it's like putting that prayer or that mantra or that energy into the bread that you're making. And then you can then share with everybody that's around you. So again, it's a simple thing. It's bread, right? But it can be so much more energetically when we just kind of tune in and let our kitchen witchery kind of step in and help us out. So also, I am going to post along with this, in case you don't see it, I'll put a very basic bread recipe in there for you that I got from King Arthur. I like their stuff. And you might want to consider making some bread this Samhain. And you could always put things in it if you wanted to, like they do at Mardi Gras. Just be very careful, that you don't break a tooth or anything. But anyway, thanks again for joining us this next episode of 31 Days of Samhain, which we're a third of the way through at this point. So I'm getting pretty excited, and I hope you guys are enjoying all this. And please consider working magic into your everyday food. It will make all the world of difference in what you have and the energetic in your home. So thanks again for watching. And of course, if you like these, please share those with folks you know, that they may get some of this information as well. It really helps us as a small business. So thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of 31 Days of Samhain. Thanks so much.